Well, hello. Welcome along. It's a brand new Chairboys live. My name's Dan Simpson. Thank you so much for watching. You'll have to forgive the where I am, as you can see, with the beard, with the hair, with the surroundings. I'm nowhere near the City Ground today, a lockdown in southwest London. But thank you, wherever you are, around the world with the worldwide Wycombe phenomenon for tuning in to a brand new Chairboys live. Now, if you were watching last week, you might have remembered that I started it off. I had a vision. I had the 3-point vision. Do you remember this? Well, it turns out my mind is a little bit more powerful than even I knew. It was a 6-point vision. And I got a good feeling about today as well. Before we crack on, we've got all the build up to get you ready for kickoff. We'll be here for the next half hour. I just wanted to do this. Listen to this, okay? Listen to this roll call of honours. I've done my research for this. Wycombe Wanderers, twice FA Cup trophy winners, FA Cup Amateur Cup winners, FA Cup semi-finalists, League Cup semi-finalists, 3 times winner of the Conference Shield, 28 times Berks and Bucks Cup winners, by the way, Anglo-Italian trophy winners, League One playoff winners. That's for the Blues. Now listen to Nottingham Forest. Through 3rd division winners, 3 times 2nd division winners, 1st division winners, twice FA Cup winners, 4-time League Cup winners, twice European Cup winners as well. And that was then. This is now. It shows you how far we've come. Today we meet with just 2 points, just 2 league places between us. It's about 45 minutes till kickoff. We'll be here. We'll keep you busy for the next half an hour. Loads on the way. We've got some stats chat. We'll hopefully have a little bit of an opposition view as well. And we'll try and solve the mystery of where Joe Jacobson got his wand of a left peg from. It's all on the way. Stick around. It's a brand new Chairboys Live. First, let's head up to the City Ground and chat. Matt. Hey, Matt.
Hello, Dan. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well, mate. I don't know if you heard me rattle off some of our roll call of honours, but the Anglo-Italian trophy, were you there for that one, I wonder?
No, Dan, I'm not that old. No, those were the glory days, hey? But no, here we are instead at the City Ground, and yeah, these walls have got some stories, I'm sure. So a fantastic place and an aura of fantastic history that this club has. And they were in League One for I think 5 years, not too long ago, but that was during our League Two era, so we never crossed paths in the league. So to be here today for a championship fixture is fantastic. It's, I keep harping on it. It's just a shame that I'm one of about 20 people in the stand at the moment. This was an away day that so many fans have been looking forward to, and they've been deprived of it. But we'll have to do it all over again next year, and hopefully this place will be packed at that point.
Well, exactly. If you are watching, obviously we can't be there today. You'll need to grab your iFollow pass, which you can do on the club's website right now. Sess, before you rattle through the teams, I know it's down there in the ticker below. Just take us through what it's like to be at the City Ground. We're on a level playing field with this incredible team with such a history. Just 2 points, just 2 places between us. Describe to us what it's like being there today.
It's amazing, the drive in, you see the Meadow Lane, the stadium obviously that was the home of the oldest Football League club before Notts County dropped out of the Football League. So yeah, drove past Hooters, of course, that some of our fans will be familiar with. It's a pub of some sort, I believe, Hooters. Trent Bridge as well, we passed on the right hand side. And then here you are, arriving at the City Ground. No matchday traffic, of course, around the place. It's just that cool feeling when you walk out from the concourse area and you see the pitch and you just kind of know that this place has had a wonderful history, and maybe not a bad time for Wycombe to be coming here given Forest's form. I know they had a win in midweek, but they've obviously not been as strong this season as they'd have liked, and it's nuts to think Wycombe Wanderers come here feeling optimistic about getting 3 league points off of Nottingham Forest. So let's see how the game unravels, but certainly for now, great to be here, privileged to be here, and looking forward to kickoff.
We go into it off some high, 7 points out of the last 9. For so long we wondered where a point, let alone a point, where a goal was coming from. And look how well we've done that last gasp. I think it was an own goal given against Birmingham in the end. Just talk us through the atmosphere around the end of that game, if you can, Sess, because I know that we've gone quite big with it online, comparing it to Royce and those famous goals in the exact same quarters in the East Midlands. So well done for that, by the way. Just talk us through how the camp is feeling after that.
Yeah, buoyant, as you can imagine. The changing room area at Birmingham was a bunch of hospitality suites. I think the boys got changed in a couple of bars, but the music was blaring. Fleetwood Mac Dreams, I think, was on when I went in there, which caught me by surprise, given the taste of some of our squad. But yeah, you could just feel that a weight has been lifted off the shoulders. And I thought it was lovely, the story that Gareth told. He was on the phone to our analyst, Josh, at the time of the goal going in. But Gareth was at home watching on iFollow. So they're having a conversation, and mid-flow, Josh yelps and screams it's a goal. And Gareth's saying, what's happened? And Josh is saying, well, we scored a goal. And of course, Gareth has to wait 30 seconds to see it come up on his own TV. So that was lovely and a special moment for them two to share on the phone, even though obviously Gareth was away and remains away for today's game. So, yeah, the boys in great spirits as they headed out afterwards. And we spoke to Scotty Cashkett with a little interview, and I met them again outside the coach afterwards. They were just thrilled to have known now that they've arrived at the level, they're meeting the standards required, and that if Birmingham were 12th before that game kicked off, we have nothing to fear in this league because we were the better side and deserved those 3 points.
Yeah, I wonder how what iFollow has done for apps. Score apps, because I have to turn off my sofa score or whatever it is, just because at the start of the season it was buzzing way too early, ruining the magic for me. Well, listen, let's crack on. Talk us through the team.
Yeah, you'll see down below 2 changes into the starting lineup. Adebayo Akinfenwa was absolutely empty, wasn't he, at the end of the game on Wednesday? His tank had run dry, and I think it was always the plan that he'd play the full 90 there and try and get us over the line, which we did, and then he would be potentially an impact sub from the bench today. So he dropped to the bench, and Dennis Adeniran as well, somebody who's just maybe played one game too many in a quick space of time. His legs just need a little rest, I think, after the quick turnaround in fixtures. But what a shift he's put in, from the first kick of the game against Swansea, I think, for his debut. So 2 changes. Anis Mehmeti comes in for his first ever senior start. Fred Onyedinma, who tried to claim the winner, but won't be claiming that one for too long. But a great impact he made off the bench, and of course he set up Scotty's equaliser, so he comes into the starting lineup. So difficult to exactly pinpoint a formation today. It's not like for like changes as such. How can you go like for like when you take Bayo out of the team? And Dennis obviously coming out, he's probably more defensive minded than Anis coming in, so expect a little formation change for the Blues today. But interesting news on the bench as well. Gareth McCleary, former Forest player, he joined the squad at quite late notice, I think, after an injury to Uche Ikpeazu. So Gareth McCleary, as we're going to have to call him to distinguish from Gareth, the manager. He makes the subs bench today.
You mentioned Uche there, so injured. What's the story with him?
Not too sure at the moment. I was at the training ground yesterday handing the Performance of the Week award to both Gareth and Dobbo as a shared prize. And I was just made aware that Uche was in the treatment room with the physio, but not too sure on the extent of the injury or timescales at the moment. Obviously, he's a bit of a stop-start career. He's got this international debut, hopefully pending for Uganda in the week. So I'm sure he'll continue to be assessed. And fingers crossed, he's representing his country and then back for the Blues after the break. We shall see.
Very excited to see how we're going to play today. Without, obviously, after such a good week, without wanting to touch on perhaps the negative side of having such a big squad. It's something we haven't seen for ages. But I know I've just seen a couple of questions flying around on Twitter with people like Darius Charles not quite making the squad. Is that simply because we're on a great run and we've got a lot of bodies through the door at the moment?
Exactly that, yeah. No real need for 2 centre-halves on the bench. And Ryan Tafazoli obviously was a big signing in the summer, and he impressed in his game against Swansea and did all right off the bench against Blackburn as well. So he's obviously just got the nod at the moment. But you're right, look at the names not in the squad. Darius Charles, Dominic Gape and Jason McCarthy are virtually fully fit again now, I think, and will be ready after the international break. Josh Parker, Alex Patterson, also not involved in the squad, and a couple of others who have probably been rude to neglect at the moment. But it is a strong squad, and there are options, and we're playing Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. Games coming thick and fast. Gareth needs the options available to him, and look, he's even able to rotate himself out and bring Dobbo in for a week, which has been lovely as well. So strength and depth all over the place.
Listen, if you're watching, please do get in touch, leave a comment, let us know what you think the score's going to be. Trevor Radbourne thinks a nice 2-0. Would love to see a clean sheet, Trevor. Would love to see another clean sheet. Also, hello to Ollie Brady. Always the optimist. Nice 2-1 to Wycombe. Any questions, anything you want to know, let us know at the YouTube comments below. We've got a busy show, Matt. I know your internet seems a little bit spotty, but we're going to push on while you're there, if that's okay. And we will bring in our next. Firstly, very quickly, it's not the Mike Williamson, is it? Not the Mike Williamson. I don't know.
No, it's not. Mike. No, Mike and Monica are great fans of the club, and a young girl as well. I forget Mike's daughter's name, but they're regular presence at Adams Park, and
well, that's good.
Online, but not Mike.
Hello, Mike. Hello to you, Mike. Hello to Monica. Mike. Hello to Charlotte as well. Lee Pound thinks it's going to be a 2-1 Wycombe win. Henry Brown also thinks it's 3-2. Nikki Shaw 2-1. Thank you so much for watching. Just over half an hour till kick-off. So let's fly around the league, see what else has gone on. Let's bring on Tom Hancock. You'll know him from Chairboys Central on Twitter. Hello, Tom. How are you doing, mate?
Not bad, are you? Thanks for having me.
No, please. I saw you at the game last week. You were there. You were reporting for the Chairboys Central. What did you make of it then? What did you make of your first time watching the Chairboys live in the flesh in the Championship?
Great day to be there, wasn't it? Couldn't really have picked a better time for it. The behind closed doors experience is still a bit, I don't know, it's a bit soulless, isn't it, as you all know. But it's also great that there is that kind of in-house group of supporters. You had Ross Barlow kind of leading the chanting. He's a great character. Pete Cooiger, you could hear from the other side of the pitch and the town. Yeah, it's not like we're entirely devoid of support, and those guys will support each other as well. I think they're all each other's biggest fans in a way. Yeah, I think that's something that Gareth has been keen, isn't he, right from the playoffs, to make everyone that is allowed to be there to really be as loud as possible. And Ross, by the way, I don't know if Ross is watching, he's probably busy. He is one of the stories of the season, if you ever get to find out more about him. Now, Tom, from Chairboys Central, I know you're big into your stats. What's stood out for you from the games that we have played this season? I don't know if you can let us know any little nuggets that you picked out from the stats sheet. I think it's changed quite a lot really since the international break. So really, Bayo coming back in has transformed us. I mean, we've got a solid spine in Josh Knight, Curtis Thompson, and Bayo now. They're kind of the three keys, but they collectively have really changed the whole way. I think it's been quite noticeable how much more creative we've been, how much more intense we've been really since that Millwall game, and especially the game since then. And switching to two up top. Now this is a league where a lot of teams play, but not even just a two up top, just it's been a loose 4-4-2 in several games, and this is a division where a lot of teams play three at the back. They play wing backs. We're kind of an outlier in that sense, but I think that really seems to count in our favour, and it's brought the best out of Scott Cashkett as well, having Bayo alongside him. Even David Wheeler at Norwich, they were causing problems together and led to a goal, obviously. So I know none of this is really statistical as such, but I think it's hard to there are some interesting numbers around this game, but one of them being that Bayo against Birmingham won as many aerials as Forest did as a team against Coventry on the same night. So it's kind of a shame he's not starting today. But yeah, I think he's just such a unique threat, and he's doing things that teams at this level just can't cope with. And I think you saw that in what Ben Foster said after the Watford game.
Yeah, I mean, he writes and rewrites the narrative himself over and over and over again, doesn't he? Listen, we're going to get some of the opposition view in just a sec. So hang around for that. We'll get someone who knows Nottingham Forest very, very well. Now, without wanting to bore you watching about XG too much, XG is expected goals. So how many goals you are expected to score from the chances that you're creating. Now, what can you tell us about this, Tom? Just because I noticed that Reading, everyone's talking about Reading at the moment. They started so brilliantly in the Championship. Was it 7 unbeaten, something miraculously amazing like that? But what they were doing a lot of was not creating a lot of chances and scoring the ones that they had. And now we're seeing them come unstuck. I mean, lost a few games. Last time I checked, they were losing to Stoke. What have you seen, like little intricacies like that throughout the league, Tom, that you can share with us?
I mean, throughout the league, you're kind of getting to the point now where you do start to get a picture from it. I mean, any less than 5 games, you're still looking at too small a sample size to really glean much from XG. It's kind of a long-term statistic. But yeah, in simple terms, it is a way of quantifying chance quality. We started off, quite badly in that respect. We've improved significantly since Bayo's come in, and Forest, they're kind of one of the more creative teams. They have been quite wasteful under Sabri Lamucci. They've improved under Chris Hughton. So perhaps now it's less of a good time to play them than it might have been, if you believe in all that kind of thing. There's such a thing as a good time to play a team. But yeah, what you said about Reading, I think people like to say, oh, well, they won't sustain it, and sometimes that's true. But then there are always outliers. And Forest, another one, finished 7th last season. Okay, they completely bottled it, frankly. They were on course for the playoffs and made a right meal of it. But yeah, in terms of creativity, they were down the bottom. So generally, yeah, it is obviously quite hard to go a whole season being super efficient, but you can be. So yeah, you've kind of got to look at XG in relation to your actual goals. So if a team is recording a really high XG but barely scoring, then yeah, that's fairly conclusive that they're wasteful in front of goal. But you've also got to factor in how many shots are they taking. A large total could just be accumulation of lots of half chances, or it could be very few good chances. So yeah, there's a lot it can tell you, and I know some people hate it, but it's a useful thing. It's definitely gone more mainstream, and
I think quite rightly, and I know you're doing an incredible job, going great guns for it over on Chairboys Central. Listen, Tom, thank you so much for dropping by. Thank you so much for giving us some stats.
No worries.
I hope you enjoy the game, and I hope we boost that XG number today. Thank you very much for joining us, mate. Right, let's quickly crack through a few of these. Hello to Robin Gardner. Best chance of scoring is likely from a Jacobson. Robin, come on, you need to be a bit more positive than that. 7 points out of 9. But yeah, could do with another JJ corner there. Right, now, as Tom was talking about XG, specifically how wasteful Nottingham Forest have been, what you can't see, what I can see, is our next guest who is waiting in the lobby, who was nodding the whole way through that. His name is Colin Hazelden. He is the sports presenter for BBC East Midlands Today. He's been a Wycombe fan since the mid-'80s as well. Colin, welcome to Chairboys Live. How are you doing?
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
No, please. Thank you for joining us. Where do we find you today, very quickly?
Well, I'm currently in the middle of driving home. I've just taken a break from a drive home. We've had a lovely morning out in the north of Nottingham, driving home so I can sit down and watch the match on iPhone.
Now, as I said, thank you so much for joining us. We'll try and get you out and get you back home as quickly as possible. I'll be honest, I know very little about other teams that are in the Championship this year, which I really is remiss of me.
No one expected to have to think about them, did they?
There is that. It's our first time being here. I've not really focused on it. I don't know anything about Nottingham Forest. As I said, I saw you nodding as Tom was saying how wasteful you've been. Talk us through Forest this season. You did bottle it quite badly at the end of last year.
You're saying you as if I'm going to be I should be on the fence really as the presenter up here, but I'm very definitely supporting Wycombe as far as we're concerned this afternoon. So I want to be clear about that. No, Forest have been really interesting this season because under Sabri Lamucci, he talked there about the decline, didn't he, Tom, at the end of last season and the way they threw it away, going into the playoffs and then going into the playoffs on a bad run and then chucking it away in the playoffs. Sabri Lamucci, they were closing down. There was a sense that they were kind of almost shutting down and getting very, very cautious. But it's very hard to judge that on this season because it's basically an entirely new team. Virtually, it's 12, 13 new signings, so almost an entirely new team. Loads of experience in that side, loads of talent. What it hasn't done so far for Forest this season is come together as a unit. And there's no sense when you watch Wycombe, you get the sense of a team playing very much as a team, very much as a unit coming together. That's not happened yet with Forest. There's not that sense when you talk to the people who watch them all the time, the bits you see, that they are playing that much as a unit. And even they won in midweek in the last minute with a penalty. And I think the general consensus amongst the people who really paid attention to that match was that was a real bit of fortune as far as Nottingham Forest were concerned. They can count themselves very lucky to have got away with that one, in great contrast to what Wycombe did, which is fully deserved the victory. And that's been the difference. The points that Forest have got, they've maybe scraped a little bit. They've not come together yet as a group.
Well, and this is how naive I am about the Championship this season. I'm solely focused on Wycombe. And come on, we're in a lockdown. There's a lot to think about. It's Chris Hughton in charge now, isn't it?
Yes, it is Chris Hughton in charge. Yeah. So Sabri Lamucci got the boot, not unexpectedly, but he was the one who brought in all the players.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is what I was going to ask. It's very strange for a board and a very, an ambitious board like the one at Forest to back Lamucci so much, and then just a few weeks into the season think, hang on, mate, this maybe it isn't working. Let's get Hughton, who has been tried and tested, proven many times at getting teams out of this division.
Well, Forest had gone very much had gone very much for a director of football, head coach situation with Sabri. So it was very much, kind of Sabri's going to be given the players, and it was his job to make something of them. And then obviously he's paid the price for not making something of them. I can't imagine Chris Hughton's going to be quite that hands off in terms of player recruitment. He's going to want much more influence as time goes by. But he's now got to wait for January. But listen, packed full of talent, this Forest team. You look at the likes of Anthony Knockaert, Joe Worrell, Joe Lolly, who's just an outstanding footballer. People like Lewis Grab and Lyle Taylor. There is so much talent in this Forest team. But then we've run up against teams with that much talent before this season, haven't we? And it's all worked out. So, it's not against the realms of possibility.
So what has been the issue? You mentioned togetherness earlier on. Can it really be as simple as that? You've got this amazing mass of quality, as you just mentioned. Anthony Knockaert.
I know.
The king of this division really is really in that Huckabee zone. Overperforms in the Championship, can't do it in the Premier League. So much talent. Why has it not worked?
I was talking to my colleagues at Radio Nottingham about this, who sit just across the desk, and their speculation is that you've got quite a group of players there who have kind of been there and done it. And that can be great in terms of the experience. So this is a squad they're trying to build that looks at promotion, and it's players who've been promoted. And they were just speculating as to whether the hunger might not quite be there for those players. And that maybe what they needed was a few younger, hungry players who hadn't done it to give them that kind of inspiration, the ones who really want it. That was their speculation. But it's really hard to say. And it's so early in the season still, especially when you've had a change of manager, when you've had all these new players. So maybe it's just as simple as that. They just haven't had a chance to adjust to a new system, adjust to a new manager, adjust to their colleagues and really come together. It's not a terrible time to play them, I have to say.
Without getting bogged down in inverted wing backs and XG, what have you seen Chris Hughton really try and tweak straight away that perhaps might catch out Wycombe today? Oh, sorry, did you miss that, Colin? No worries.
No, I've lost you completely. Sorry, you froze there. I've got to call. I do have duties actually on Radio Nottingham in just a second, so I'll have to leave you.
Well, that's all right. Last question. What's Hughton changed that you have seen in the games that he's been there so far this season? And really, I know it's a good time to play, but should we be worried about what he has brought to the table?
I think there's just a little bit more dynamism, a little bit more sense that they're going to get the ball down and want to attack, a little less caution. So that is what you really have to watch. There is a bit more desire to get forward and a bit less. They're slowly getting away from the sense, even with a whole new group of players, there was just that sense that they had that hangover from last season, and they were still thinking about the failure. And maybe that's what he's changing, is that they're slowly stopping thinking about last season and starting to think about this one.
Brilliant. Quick score prediction. What do you reckon? Sitting on the fence?
I think it might be a draw this afternoon. I think it's got maybe two each. Two each.
Well, we'll take that. Listen, Colin, thank you so much for stopping off on your way home.
Cheers.
I'll let you get on your call. I'll let you run home to watch the game on iFollow. Colin, thank you so much for joining us, mate. That is Colin Hazelden, sports presenter for BBC East Midlands Today and a Wycombe fan. So nice, straddling both sides for us there. Right, before we bring in our final guest of the show, let's just head back to Matt Cecil. There you go. Caught you a bit unawares there. I don't know. Well, listen, Matt, how are things progressing? How are things building up? Is the warm-up finished yet? What's going on the pitch?
Yeah, I haven't been paying too much attention to it, to be honest. I had a call off the manager, really, just to kind of talk me through the team and his decisions about bringing in Anis Mehmeti. He said Dobbo only told Anis today that he'd be in the team. Quite often the team is named to the squad on a Friday. But he didn't want Anis to have that kind of sleepless night of anxiety or worrying about what might be to come. So only today Anis was told he was in the starting lineup, and fantastic for him. And yeah, Gaz is at home. He's getting his boy to hook up iFollow to the TV because that's far too technical for Gaz. So yes, they should be enjoying the game as a family. But Gaz said it will be, slightly different. He'll be on the phone to Josh, the analyst, for a lot of the game as well. So it was great to hear from him, and he's pumped for the game, pumped for Dobbo, and let's hope we get the result for him.
Brilliant. Well, also happy birthday to Henry Brown. Thank you so much for spending next Sunday. We'll spend the week before your birthday with us here in Chairboys Live. Right. Let's get a very, very special guest on this show now. The reason behind one of, I think, the greatest Chairboys player of the last, over a decade now. You might have seen him from JJ and his dad's podcast. It's JJ's dad. It's Howard Jacobson. Hey, Howard.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, really, really well. Thank you so much for joining us. Matt, I'm just going to drop you off, mate, if that's all right, just because you're very, very loud where you are. That's all right. Right, Howard, it's us. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to start off with the big question. When did you realise that your son's leg was actually like a magic wand or Thor's hammer?
So it was actually his head that came first. So we had a little goal in the garden when he was 2 years old. And I crossed in and he headed it in at 2. So I thought, oh, that's pretty impressive. And then he started playing for teams when he was about 6 or 7, I think. And he had a pretty good left foot. But that's his mum. There's nothing to do with me. She's left-footed. So that she can take credit for that. But yeah, it was quite young when he started playing with much older boys, and then realised that there was something going on. Then he joined Cardiff when he was 8, I think. So it was quite an early start for him, really.
Yeah, and I mean, we are reaping the benefits of his getting into the golden age of his career now, getting into that twilight golden age, but we're properly reaping the benefits now. Well, listen, on the screen, you've called yourself JJ's dad. That's your new moniker. Behind the fantastic podcast, by the way. If you've not heard JJ and his dad, the podcast, it's just the two of you having a chat about everything, really. Talk us through the idea, Howard.
So it came from before the playoff final. We got a call. I think Matt got a call from Radio 1's Newsbeat, and they were looking for parents from both Wycombe side and Oxford. So they couldn't. I don't think any of the players from Oxford got a dad. So they had a fan, and me came on, and I think they quite enjoyed it, and they phoned me up and said, "Look, can we do another one?" So we did another one the next day, and I thought that was quite good. And Joe came on as well, so we had a little bit of a chat as we normally do, and we thought, "Oh, that was fun. Why don't we try and make a podcast?" None of us had done it before, and that was it really. We talk probably every day, almost every day, about stuff, not necessarily just football, but always having a chat. On FaceTime or whatever with the family, and did one, and I think it's got about 1,000 views or something. So we thought, oh, okay, at least people seem to enjoy it. So we carried on. We've given it a miss for a couple of weeks because it's been a bit difficult getting together and having enough time to do it. But yeah, so we did one. I tried to get him to do one on after the game on Wednesday, but he wasn't having it. So I thought that would be been a good one on the coach or something, but I think it was too shy, really. So we did one last night.
You did, all right. What's it like, Howard? Being that I mean, it's the obvious question. What's it like being the dad of a footballer, particularly one who has really blossomed, for want of a better word, at this stage in his career? You know, played in League One and in League Two with Shrewsbury and with Wycombe for quite a while, and now really racing up and finally getting into the Championship.
So it's been about 14 years. So he made his debut for Cardiff in the Championship about 14 years ago. So we've been waiting 14 years for this. I think the thing is with Joe that he's been very, very lucky that so when he was 19, he went to Bristol Rovers and they really looked after him. So he was there for about three years or so. So I think he's very comfortable at clubs that look after him, and that's the most important thing for him. So it was sort of, can he play at another level? Can he play at another level? And obviously that came with League One quite early, and then I think Shrewsbury he joined when they're in League Two. and they got promoted straight away with them. So a lot of his career's been in League One, but never had a chance really in the Championship, as a lot of the Wycombe players. And I think now you can see that they're finding their feet, and that's probably where they belong. So I think with Joe, it's obviously been something that probably he's wanted to test himself at. And I wanted to see him back there because I wanted to play Cardiff City. Obviously, it's been my, if I die after the game at Cardiff City Stadium in, I think it's April, as long as I get to see it, then I'll be a happy person. So that's waiting a long time for that one.
Well, Howard, we need to go, and I'm so sorry that we've got to leave it on that tremendously negative note of you dying. let's not
try to stay alive.
Well, Howard, listen, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for joining us today. Well, listen, thank you for watching. Go and listen to the podcast, JJ and his dad. If you've not seen it yet, you can find it online. It's on Twitter. Really good, really interesting listen of being behind the scenes of a footballer and their relationship and kind of what they do when they're not on the pitch. And it's 15 minutes till kickoff now, just under. If you've not got your iFollow pass, go and grab that. Thank you so much for watching. A brand new Chairboys Live, a packed Chairboys Live as well. I mentioned earlier on all those, the different history that we've had as a club. It's completely irrelevant today. Just 2 league places, just 2 points between us. Let's see if we can get that, or even better than that 2-2 draw that Colin predicted earlier on. iFollow passes, that's what you need to get to go and watch the game. Thank you for joining us on Chairboys Live Match Day. We will see you soon. Come on the Chairboys. See you later.